Good morning, Service Alliance community. How are you all doing today? Good morning, Jason.
Good morning, Mike. I don't know if you could hear that or not, but I always get on Facebook and YouTube and have it playing and comment and react and stuff on the side here. It was just blaring loud just now. I'm like, oh, wrong timing for that.
Totally didn't hear it.
Oh, that's good. That means my crisp is working well.
Crisp.
Yeah.
You're sounding crisp this morning.
Sounding crisp this morning? That's good because I have crisp. I need to be sponsored by Crisp. Hashtag Crisp. I'll be putting that in the comments probably, but yeah, Crisp is a really cool thing that we use for our company. It does a whole lot more now. They've updated some stuff, but so we have roughly 20 people in our office that are all on the phones, all have headsets, and are all talking to clients from all over the country and up into Canada. So literally with Crisp, it's a noise blocking system. It's a software that we pay per user. And so I can literally be standing right behind somebody on the phone with the client talking with somebody else, and you can't hear that conversation in their headphones. So it does a great job. It's a really cool software. It's Crisp with a K, K-R-I-S-P. The other cool thing about Crisp, I don't know why I'm going so detailed about Crisp, but it's a note-taking. It's an app you can put on your phone. And so while you're at PSA during one of the great talks by Tom Howard or Mike Carson or TK or Zach, you can record that and it'll give you a summary to do, action points. I mean, it's like really cool. It's one of my best friends the last few weeks. We've been using Chris for years, but they did something really cool with this note-taking thing. So I use it like crazy, and it's only $5 per user. Yeah, $5 per user per month. That's it. So
I was talking to Zach, and he uses Plod.
Oh yeah, he had that thing right there.
Yeah,
I like the whole.
And I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. He's the first one that I've actually seen using it, in person, and he was going through it with me and everything, and it was kind of cool seeing it.
Yeah,
in use.
I applauded him for using Plod. So
yeah,
it's really stupid, but it worked. I was intrigued by Plod. I tell you, Vegas, if you weren't there, Mike and I were just talking about this before the show. If you've never been to Vegas before, it can be like sensory overload, right? And then for the rest of us who don't gamble and go to strip clubs, it's just very, underwhelming. Because there's a lot to do, but if you're there for business, it's kind of like, and that's the thing with Shane and I. We really don't like Vegas because we don't go to strip clubs, we don't really gamble, and we don't go party and drink. So it's like the shows, which we've went and seen pretty much all the shows. Every time we went to Vegas, we try to take in a show or two. So now it's just okay.
Yeah, but there is one cool thing that you did with Austin. You got to ride in that taxi.
Oh yeah, the robo taxi.
That looked pretty cool.
Yeah, so the robo taxi by Zoox, Zoox. It's a completely autonomous, full self-driving taxi cab that they are testing out in a couple different markets in the United States. And this is, from my understanding, it's Jeff Bezos, Amazon type of product. And it was really cool. I did a video. You have to go check it out on my socials. I put it out there on YouTube, TikTok, Facebook. So go find me. I'm pretty much at WJ Shad on everything, or Jason Shadow, and you can find me. And it was neat. I did a little short video of it. Yeah, Shannon was like, I'm really surprised you got in that thing, knowing how, you like to control your driving. But, I didn't think about it once. Like, I didn't think about, what if this thing goes off the rail and wrecks? I mean, the one thing that I see different between like Elon's Teslas and Bezos's Zoox is, from my understanding, Tesla only uses cameras to see into full self-drive, whereas the Zoox is using like beams, lasers, and cameras, like a combination of everything. So it's seeing more, in my opinion. Now, which is better? I don't know. I got in it and felt comfortable. So the crazy thing is we went from a robo taxi, full self-driving, we caught an Uber later that day, and it was a Tesla, a brand new Tesla model. I think it was a Y. Pretty nice. And then later that night, when we were coming back from Fremont, we were in a Kia. So it's like full self-driving all the way back to a gasser, so
nice.
Full turnaround that day. Austin had never been Fremont Street, so we had to go down to Fremont. It was funny because as soon as we walked out on the Fremont, he just like looks up and he had this look of like, oh my God.
Yeah, that ceiling they put up was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was sensory overload. So
yeah,
PSA was cool. What'd you think about Tom Howard?
I loved him.
Yeah,
I mean, the thing that I got the most out of it was a guy at his level. All right. I mean, Fetching Millions, right? That's the name of his book. A guy at his level doing the ending keynote for the conference. He kind of just reaffirmed and everything that we had just talked about for 3 days and pounded into people with 8 different classes. Just he kind of wrapped it up and summed it all up and reaffirmed everything that we had been teaching at Service Alliance Group. So that to me I was like, wow, we just talked about that, Monday, or just talked about that Tuesday. And he just kept firing all these things. And I'm like, you know what? We're doing it right.
Yeah.
If a guy like that at his level is saying do all these things, it's exactly what we taught. So I thought, and he had no clue. He just walked in that night and had no clue what we were doing.
It was funny because beforehand, Zach Kreider walks up to me and he goes, "Hey, you want to go meet Tom Howard?" I'm like, yeah, sure. Who's that? Like, I had no clue who he was, and he's like, well, he owns Lee's Heating and Air. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. I literally had no clue he was a keynote or anything. And so Zach walks me over there and it's just Zach, myself, and Tom in this little, half circle, and introduced himself. We got to talking, and then it finally hits me and I'm like, oh, this guy's worth a lot of money.
He's the real deal.
He's the real deal. Like, yeah. And so then it hit me, oh, this guy's the keynote speaker. So the cool thing, about his book, it's called Fetching Millions. All of the money that he gets from this goes to charitable foundations that he supports. So it was a book. He said, I hope you enjoy the read. He goes, I literally wrote it. I proofread it myself. I already know there's some mistakes in there. So enjoy the book. But I went through and I was reading it, and a lot like I've got another book by Ron Smith called HVAC Spells Wealth we've talked about before. And I had somebody say, why would you get that book? You're an electrician, and I'm like, well, you could plug anything into HVAC spells wealth, electrical spells wealth, a call center spells wealth, appliance marketing pros spells wealth, right? So same thing with Tom's book, even though he talks about heating and air and plumbing and a little bit about Fetch-A-Tech and Service Titan in here. I see a lot of good in this for my own business. Just like in one section, I highlighted a crud load of stuff in here that he's talking about sales templates. And that's one thing that we've been struggling with a bit with my office help when selling. I hate using the word selling, but when talking with people about solutions for their business is, we have a system, but now that we have 4 people selling my office help and my office manager, we need to really go to a sales template. And so literally I put in big exclamation points, sales templates in any business. And he's got a whole section talking about sales templates. And it doesn't matter that it's in Service Titan or that, he's talking about heating and air. It's literally, you could plug in any business in there. Appliance marketing pros can plug in sales templates in here.
It's all about systems.
Yeah. So It's a good book. It's a short read. Literally, I read it on the plane ride home. So you can get some good golden nuggets out of it. So yeah,
absolutely. Well, let's pray us in and you can go over a verse and we'll get into systems here.
Sounds like a plan.
Dear Heavenly Father, I want to thank you for how blessed we are. I want to thank you for all that you've given us and the systems that you've put together for our life. You teach us many, many things, and you've given us a path to follow, and you've given us, the groundwork for living a life worthy of you, Lord. I just ask that you be with us throughout this week. Let us be the light to others that we come across, and keep us true and straight on your path. It's in Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
True and straight.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, you got some good verses on here. And as soon as you said true and straight, I'm like, man, there's so many ways that can go. But I'm going to pick the road less traveled and go with Isaiah 55. So Isaiah 55, 8 and 9 says, my ways are higher than your ways, my thoughts higher than your thoughts. And so I think that just kind of comes down to saying, God's system is wiser, it's bigger, and it's better than anything we can imagine. So, yeah, simply put,
absolutely.
I think if God can run the universe with perfect order, we can run a business with clarity using those same principles of focus, discipline, and the right systems. Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah.
So
that's all I got to say about that. Okay, that's all. We're good. Have a
so
good day.
Today we're talking about the 80-20 rule of systems, and why systems matter. I mean, we all know why they matter, but we at PSA we talked a lot about systems. Like it seemed like every single class we did, no matter what, it all came back to systems.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tom Howard ended the keynote all talking about systems, right?
Yeah.
So it's like you can't get away from it. Everything revolves around systems.
Yeah.
There's no way to get around it. So, but how do you take systems? I had a lot of conversations after classes and after the conference with a lot of people, and they came up to me and they're like, God, this stuff is just so overwhelming. You go to a conference, you learn all this stuff, and then it's like, what do you do?
Yeah.
And I told one guy, this guy, Eric, great guy, just met him right there in the classes. And he was one of those guys that came up to me and he's like, how do I take all this knowledge that you guys gave us? And how do I put it all together? Cause it's just so overwhelming.
Yeah.
And I said, I use this exact term, 80-20 rule. 20% of what you do produces 80% of the results.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, pick your top three. Pick your top three things and go do those and master them.
Yeah.
Then pick your next top three.
Yeah, even Tom said that in his keynote. Yeah. You're going to get overwhelmed, literally word for word. Like you're going to get overwhelmed by everything you learn in this keynote by this week. Take 2 or 3 things and incorporate them. One of the things he was talking about was how so many people go to these conferences and they get conference happy, right? So they get in the conference, they get this big high, they go back and they don't implement anything. They go to the next conference, they get this big high, they learn all this stuff, they go back, they don't implement anything. He goes, just take 1 thing, 2 things, 3 things tops from this week, go back and incorporate it, right? So
yeah, I mean, when we say the top things, it's that 20% that's going to make 80% of the results.
Well, what's that one thing you learned this week that's going to move your needle?
Absolutely.
I've heard that so many times. What's going to move your needle? Out of everything that you learn, if you incorporated this one thing alone, it's going to raise your profit margins by 5%. It's going to make your team, happy by doing this or whatever it may be. What's that one thing that's really going to move the needle in your business? For me, again, it's getting a systemized sales process that is unified between the four of us. I think that will help us move our needle in that aspect. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is literally something that I preached is this is the difference between running a job and running a business.
Yeah.
And I really tried to hammer that home. And in a lot of classes, I mean, we gave a lot of people reality checks, right? And everybody was kind of like, wow, I didn't know that we had to do all this stuff. And we hammered a lot of information into their brains.
Yeah.
And they just didn't know what to do with it. So when you're going through chaos without systems and you're just flying off the seat of your pants, it stresses you out so much that you can't think clearly. All right. So when you're going through systems, you can think predictably, and you can be more consistent, and you can scale. So that's what we're going to talk about today. 20% of your systems solve 80% of your problems. And that just makes sense, right? Your top when you look at your business, that top 20% of the things that you do are definitely producing 80% of your revenue. So why not focus on that top 20%?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Everybody goes and they implement, one thing, but they don't master it. Yeah. And I think that's where a lot of people fail, is you have to get that dialed in and mastered before you can really go on to the next set of things. So that's why I told this guy at the conference, pick your top 3 things and master them.
Yeah.
Don't just pick one thing. Pick your top 3, but master them before you move on. Because once you master them, you're not going to veer from them.
Yeah, TK did a really good job about talking about the customer experience and basically kind of running a sales call or running a service call, if you will. So for like an appliance repair, dispatching and scheduling, most customer experience wins or losses happen in that dispatch and scheduling part. Whether you can meet the customer on their time, like I had somebody that wanted to book a demo at 5:30 this week, and it's like, oh man, that's normally not when we can do that. I didn't say this to him, but that's normally not when we try to do it, like between 8 and around 4 o'clock to do demos or one-to-ones. But I'm like, you know what, Thursday I have nothing really going on that evening, and if it works for 5:30 for him, you know what, 5:30 is going to work for me. So I put him on the schedule for Thursday at 5:30. It's outside of my comfort zone, but it worked for the customer, right? It worked for that potential client. So think about that. If a client works during the week and their evenings are already booked and Saturdays are their free days, maybe meet them on their Saturday, right? Because you're going to have a higher chance of closing that call on a Saturday because it's on their time. So think about that. Most customer experience wins or losses happen in the dispatching and the scheduling of the time of meeting them on their need. The customer intake questions that your CSR takes or that you take, these drive those booked versus lost jobs. If you're getting just very faint information, your first call complete is probably going to be not so great. Knowing what parts that you may need, having a CSR that can ask those questions correctly and find out, okay, what is truly happening here? That's a huge aspect on your business. So when you think about the 80-20%, the drives booked versus lost jobs happen in the customer intake. And then towards the end of the call, reviews and reputation. Your reputation online, it fuels long-term lead flow and referral consistency. So I've had people that have called and booked jobs with our electrical business because of negative reviews online. And they literally said, because of how you handled it online and the professionalism in your answer and your response is why I want to do business with you. So even negative reviews can fuel long-term lead flow and that referral consistency. So focus, even from TK's his talk he did, which was really great. You know, those were like top 3 things from, you know, even his talk. Focus on those vital few systems, not the trivial many. And if it doesn't move, again, revenue, retention, or reputation, it's a secondary thing. That was some good stuff I got there.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna pick your top 3 things, obviously lead handling is a huge one.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't do business if you don't have sales, right? And conversions. So work on your conversion rate.
This is one that I'm struggling with right now. Like I'm getting, and this is a good problem, I'm getting leads from different sources. BNI is a great example. I've got a stack of business cards on my desk right now that's like this big from since June, going to different BNI chapters and getting people their business cards or connecting with them, or hey, let's set up a one-to-one. And that's been a great source of referrals. We've closed three clients this week just from BNI referrals. It's awesome, right? But it's that the lead handling, like, and that's what we've got my office manager for. So I'm utilizing my own systems more and more as I learn them, and it's been interesting to see. So yeah, lead handling is
I mean, it's not just the lead coming in. It's if you don't convert it, it's the follow up because they may need you again. They may get another service provider that's crap.
Yeah. Okay. You know? So let's dive into that one just to hear. So I was on a demo yesterday with a pressure washing company that I had met at a conference a couple weeks ago, and she's probably one of the larger pressure washing companies that we've talked to in the Midwest area, and they have 6 techs. 3 does commercial overnight, 3 does residential during the day, and they go all over into Missouri, into Illinois. Anyway, so I said, on average, how many calls do you think you miss per day? And so she told me. I said, so what does that equate to per job? And she told me. So, and I did the math real quick. I said, so let me ask you a question. Could you use an extra $78,000 a year? She goes, yeah. I'm like, well, that's what you're missing out on conservatively, just off the numbers that you told me. And I said, for us, full blown out service, we would cost about 1/3 of that. So literally I'm still putting over 50, it was like 50 something $1,000 into your pocket. And so, yeah, long story short, that was a great sales call. So think about that, right? How many calls are you losing? Yeah. Anyway, so the lead handling, the follow-up aspect of it for her, it was another one was invoicing, right? Just simply, she sends an invoice. She uses Jobber. And so she sends an invoice out, and if they don't pay it, she has to keep on them. She literally has to manually call them, send another invoice. You know, so with my office manager, we're able to automate all that for her. So that's one less thing that she's got to keep up with. So anyway, yeah. Think about when you were talking about inventory or forms, I think it was. So
yeah, think if you're in that situation working with property managers that just aren't paying you. You know, your CSR has to really keep up on it. Yeah. So you can alleviate your CSR from doing all the heavy work.
There was a lot of good conversations at PSA, just talking about before you go out collecting, especially for property management or for rental properties, getting a credit card on file and going ahead and charging them your call out fee, your dispatch fee, whatever you're going to call it, and getting that. And that's going to weed out a good portion of people who really are not your customers, because if they're not willing to pay your call out fee up front, are they going to be willing to pay your fees when you get there? You know?
Yeah. TK didn't excellent deep class on that while he was out at PSA. So very, very highly attended.
I think you guys recorded that, if I'm not mistaken.
We recorded all of ours.
And those will be all put on the is it the mastermind group you're gonna be putting them in?
As long as the recordings turned out okay.
Okay.
So a lot of them were interactive and workshopy type style. So it just depends on. I haven't seen any of the footage yet. So
well, I hope they turn out good.
How the raw footage cleans up.
I will say you guys did a great job on your workshops this go around. You guys had a lot of them too. So
yeah, we did 8. So basically almost took over the entire business track. So it was good. We had the highest attended classes of all the classes in PSA. So
that
was good.
So getting back to this, we're talking about lead handling, tech, productivity, cash flow. If it touches your revenue, reputation, or retention, it's part of that 20%. So don't try to fix everything at once. Just start where that pain is highest. So for her, a lot of the follow-up, the invoicing, was part of that big pain, and automating that, man, that will get rid of a lot of that pain. So I'd love to have a conversation with you about how we can help you with that automation part of that.
Yeah. So how do you build your first 20%?
How do you build your first 20%?
Well, like I said, you got to keep it simple. Pick your top three KISS principle. Build a checklist, script, automation. It's enough to start. Just start. That's the thing.
You said a dirty word right then. Script. I tell you that that's a word that you throw script out to some people. They're just like, yeah, no, I'm not a script person. I'm not going to follow a script. I'm not going to abide by a script. Well, let me tell you, a script made me a lot of money and helped a lot of clients out. I remember 2004, I started out with, you guys have probably heard me talk about it if you followed us long enough. On the back of my work orders, I had specific questions that I would want to ask a client, right? And then I eventually did it above the line, below the line. Questions I'm going to ask before I even start turning a wrench, and then questions that I'll get to later. And all of these questions, it was a script, but at first I was embarrassed to ask these. And I'm sitting here reading the questions off of this page. So I had a translucent clipboard, and I taped it to the inside of that. And it's like, I know these people can see it, but it still feels hidden. Eventually, I just popped it out on the front because I wanted to take notes, right? So I would literally ask them, hey, I've got some questions here I want to ask you. Help me get a little bit more familiar with what's going on. I'm going to take some notes as we go along. Is that okay? And literally just throw it out there. And I never had anybody say, oh, no, you can't take notes. It's like going to a doctor, right? So it was a script, but yet it wasn't, because it was helping me get to know what was going on in their home better. And I took notes. That's the key thing, taking notes so I can reference them later. Hey, Mrs. Jones, you said earlier that the lights in here were flickering quite a bit. Was there certain times of day that you noticed that, or, what was going on? Was the TV on? Again, it's a reference point to go back to. So when people say script, don't think of that as a dirty word. For CSRs out there, don't think of the word script as a dirty word. For
it's
us,
a guide. It's a framework.
Right, 100%. On our intake, we call it MoTake, but on our intake questions, for every single company, we have that base script that you can go off, but we sit down with you and we customize it. So when people call in the software we've built, it starts with, hi, thank you for calling, blah, blah, blah. How can we help you today? Yeah, I've got a problem with my dishwasher. Oh, okay. And so the CSR just simply clicks which, after gathering the information about the client, they gather what appliance is the issue. So dishwasher. From that, it pops open a whole nother set of questions. Oh, what brand is your dishwasher? It asks the brand, right? Then, oh, okay. Do you happen to have a serial number or a model number? Oh, yeah, I can get that for you. They type that in. Okay. So from there, we're gathering all the pertinent information that you guys need when you're out there running service calls. So it is a script, but like you said, it's a guide, right? None of our CSRs, especially now, when we used to have the binder thing, right? It felt like a script, right? But now that everything is in the software, it's literally a click and the next question comes up. It's beautiful. And none of them think of it as a script, right? It's just something that's part of helping them serve the client better. So think that instead of the word script. How am I serving the client better by using a checklist, questions that I want to get familiar with, taking notes, right? It's not a script, right? Even automations, that can be enough to start making things simple. Automations are awesome. I could talk about automations for a long time. I've got a 10-minute presentation I'm giving Thursday, and I'll be talking a lot about automations and how we've helped, a lot of clients out with, anyway.
Yeah. Once you've gone into setting up automations for your company, trust me, you can go down a rabbit hole because you're going to love it so much.
Yeah.
And you're going to be like, what else can I automate? What else can I take off my plate?
That's the thing that really surprises me as I talk with people, House Call Pro, Java Workies, they have a one trigger automation like reviews. Reviews is a great example. They all send out one review. Hey, thank you for using, EJ's appliance repair. Please review our company, period. And that's it. There's no more follow-up with it. So that's why with our software, my Office Manager, we set up continued automation to follow up with that. I talked about it with EJ. 17 minutes later, they're getting a personalized text from EJ. Hey, this is EJ from EJ's Appliance. I really appreciate your business. If there's anything I can do for you in the future, don't hesitate to call. It's not a salesy thing. It's not I just appreciate your business. Then it moves on 27 days later, a follow-up. Hey, how's everything going with your service we did? Anything we can help you out with? Then 90 days later. And at every single one of these points, there's a, hey, stop texting me. Click the link if you want me to stop texting you type of thing, or email, right? But the point with that is with the automations, the follow-up, EJ was able to increase his reviews online by 71% in this first 6 months alone. I use that story all the time. So yes, while House Call Pro, Jobber, Workies, Service, all these companies are great, they lack on the follow-up for some reason. And you would think companies that big that they would just, oh yeah, automation, we need to put that into our system, but they don't. So I'm happy with it because that sends more people my way and we get to help them. So
yeah. There's no system's perfect. None of them are. Yeah. So it's like you need multiple systems.
Oh, hey, we got people jumping on. I didn't realize that. We just say good morning.
Let's say hi to some people.
There we go.
Hey, Eddie, it was great seeing you.
Yep.
Ginny, same. Which is crazy because he's already so awesome at getting reviews. Talking about EJ.
He is awesome, and he's even more awesome now that he uses my Office Manager.
Yeah. And we got Garrison hopping in, and Howard.
We've got to do a better job of saying good morning to people as they come in.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, they came in slow. Everybody was a slow roll today, which I don't blame them. I was too. So getting back to things here. All right, get us back on track. Squirrels. Everywhere there's squirrels.
Yeah.
And that's why you have to focus on your 20%, right?
So yeah, we were talking about scripts, missed call, text automations, review reputation automations. There's so many different automations that you can get on. Jump on myofficehelp.com/get-started. Set up a demo with us. We'll show you how we can help you out with that kind of stuff. SOPs, right? I was talking about how we used to have all of our SOPs and binders, and we were talking about that in the office the other day. It started becoming a thread in our chat groups, and it's like, yeah, one of them was like, yeah, I missed the binders, but I don't, because now that we have everything in the software, it's so much better. So you got to start somewhere. And a binder is great. Don't get me wrong. I had binders for years, price book binders, script binders, everything. But, you got to start somewhere. You got to test it, and then you just improve and make it better. And now all of them are like, I would never go back to a binder again in my office.
Yeah. I mean, so I remember I went to work for a company. We had 7 locations, and I was the manager of the home office, basically, the headquarters. And the CEO walks out and he hands me a binder. I kid you not. This thing was like half as thick as my head.
Yeah.
I was like,
gosh, that's
what? He just
binder.
dumps it on my desk, and I'm like, what is this? He says, that's our operating manual. And I'm like, oh, this is your SOPs? And he says, yeah, take that home, bring it back. It's the only copy we have. And I was like, oh my God, it took me like 3 days to go through this thing. And I'm like, I didn't remember hardly anything in it. It was like you read a book really fast and then you have to turn it back into the library, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, how can you expect the entire company to read a binder, retain it, and then follow systems? Then you only have one copy in the entire company with 107 people at that time.
Yeah.
And I ended up building a website, like an intranet website for this company. And we put everything online, like everything went digital.
Yeah.
And the whole company was able to, in 2 years, double the size.
Yeah.
From 7 locations to 14. So that's the power of systems. But if they're in a binder in the office and on a shelf and no one knows about it, and they're not accessible to all the employees, nothing matters. It's all about training. So
done is greater than perfect, right? Start with one high impact thing and then build momentum from there.
Yeah. Someone once told me perfect is never done.
No.
And I love that phrase.
Perfect is never done. Oh, I like that. Okay.
Yeah.
See, that's the other thing. I used to keep Post-it notes everywhere and used to be the Post-it note king, and even binders. Like I don't have any binders on my bookshelf anymore. I used to be the binder and Post-it note king. So you have to text me that quote, because right now I'm like, all right, I can write it. All right. So our last point we want to kind of get across is scaling with systems. Once your core 20% are strong, layer in the next priorities, right? Start looking at what's the next thing that can move the needle. Solving one bottleneck makes the next bottleneck easier. So find those bottlenecks in your business and start tackling those one by one. The CEO mindset is your job isn't to run the systems. You build them, you empower others, and then you monitor the results. And it's a beautiful thing when you get to that point. I look at my wife. My wife was in the thick of it, answering calls, doing books, doing this, doing that, and the other. And now she's gotten to a point where doing sales. Now she has a really strong leadership team in place currently that she's empowered, and she's been able to step back. And now she's focusing on the other bottlenecks in our business, right? So I see her and I use her as a perfect example of that. And Jenny, I know you're going to say, Shayna, you need to look at this. He was bragging on you on the podcast. But that's a great example, right? If again, find a bottleneck, right? Solving one bottleneck makes it easier. So build systems that run without you, then step back and then focus on the growth, right? So
yeah, anyway. I was talking to a guy named Brad out at PSA, and he's like, you guys are talking about all these systems, but how do you implement them?
Ooh.
Like, how do you get people to follow them?
Yeah.
And he was a contractor who bought an appliance repair company like 11 months ago. And he's trying to figure out how to make the systems, because it was a systemless company. And like I told everybody here, pick your top 3, find out who's responsible for it, have them write the system, have them involved in that process. Then they're going to follow their own process that they helped create. Right.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, and I'm like, that's how you get people involved and you can implement it easier, and you're not shoving it down their throat.
Yeah.
So people that create things are more apt to follow those things, right? So make sure that you have your team involved if you've got a team, and everyone involved with every certain area needs to give feedback on that.
Yeah.
And even some of the CSR stuff, the techs should be reading that stuff because they interact with the CSR, right?
Yep.
On a larger scale in a larger company. So it's good for everyone to know what everybody's job is so that they can understand what is happening, on a larger scale in the company.
Accountability.
The techs don't have to know everything the CSR does, but they have to have an idea of the processes. And the same CSR should know some of the processes the tech has to go through.
Yeah.
So it makes things a lot easier when everybody's aware of everybody else's role in the company. And all those processes are one fluid system.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop. Sales don't stop at the CSR. They continue at the home with the tech. So why wouldn't those two know what the sales process is, between each other?
Yeah.
Because it is one sales system. It is one customer experience and customer journey system.
Yeah.
So definitely get multiple people involved in helping build out your systems. It's not your way or the highway.
Let's recap here a little bit and then give you guys an action step. So to recap, we're talking about 80-20, the 80-20 of systems. It means finding the few processes that make everything else easier. So a good action step for you all is just to identify one area that's leaking the most money or time this week, build a system around it. And, after you get that bottleneck out of the way, tackle the next one. So one thing, just one thing. Sounds like a book, huh? The one thing. Your business won't grow because you worked harder. It'll grow because you systemized smarter. Let me say it again. Your business won't grow because you worked harder. It'll grow because you systemized smarter. Jenny's probably like, yes, I love that. Yeah. So start small, focus on the vital few, then let your systems free your time, protect your profits, and scale your business. Mike, it's been a good show. I've enjoyed this one.
Yeah. Make sure you like, subscribe, follow.
See this
click
QR
all the
code
buttons
right here? This QR code right here is my personal business card. My personal business card. If you'd like to connect with me, just scan that. I know you can scan it off your phone right here. Scan that and then click the link that says book a Zoom with Jason. It'll take you to my calendar. We can set up a time to do a one-to-one and learn more about how we can help each other's business out. So if you're another business or if you're an appliance repair company that's looking for some of the services we provide, love to have a conversation with you. Be sure to go check out Appliance Marketing Pros, My Office Help, and Service Alliance Group on all your social media platforms, websites, all that good stuff. Give us a good like, share, follow. That's an easy way to pay the fee, which is free to pay the fee. And then, Mike, you got a mastermind coming up on October 18th. What's that all about?
We do. It's going to be on customer experience on the third week. Let me look at the date. Third week of October.
October 18th.
Yeah, 18th.
Sweet.
So if you're an all access member, make sure you're there.
All right.
We're going to be talking all about the customer experience, customer journey. I believe TK's leading that. It's going to be amazing.
It's the same one and he did at Vegas. Man, you guys don't want to miss it. It's going to be a good one. He did a good job.
It'll probably be a very focused version of that.
I want to check my calendar. That may be something I might want to jump in on if I may. Let me see here. No, I'll be up in
enhancing the customer experience.
I'll be up in River Grove, so up in your neck of the woods, about an hour from you or so.
Oh, fun.
Anyway, now on to the out thing that you do. That thank you for watching the Service Alliance podcast.
Well, now I don't have to do it. You just did it. All right, everybody, have a great week. Yeah. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Have a good one.
Thanks for tuning in to the Morning Grind podcast by Service Alliance Group. Subscribe to our channel and make sure you visit our website at servicealliancegroup.com for appliance repair business resources.